Started it up. So, all right. So I guess we'll start. I guess we'll go with the whole getting stuff into SFM, right?
All right.
So, I'm gonna be using something that's technically already in the game. I'm gonna be using Cardi, but but like if you're using something that's not in the game and you're just importing it from the game itself, um, you would go to where is it? You'd go into like the file, the items folder. You know where all this stuff is, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then in here, this is where um, the files import to. So for example, like let's say I'm going to take like the Snapdraw courier. I would literally just copy this into the SFM directory. So and it's all mimicked. It's all the same. So like it'd be models, items. Where's couriers, and then it'd go. The thing you have to make sure is when you import your own thing, you're in this folder right here. That's a whole bunch of digits. It has to
Mm-hmm.
mimic that in SFM's directory. If the things are different, then it won't find that, and it won't be able to import into SFM. So you have to make sure that the directories are literally from like pretty much from the models items or the models folder on has to be identical to what's in your SFM directory.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
so like
So
once you
this is custom stuff. Basically, will have that weird alphanumeric text that you need.
Yes, 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 yes. So like yeah, so for example, I have that folder pretty much duplicated in my courier directory. So I would take like the Snapdraw here, just copy him and drop him into this folder here, which he should have been dropped, and he doesn't want to be copied over right now. He's being a dick. So yeah, I just drop him over right here, and I'll come back to this in a second and show you. But then I'd also have the materials directory, which has a lot, and that would be the same here. So for example, I just go right into the materials, and then I'd find the same file that was in the other folder, that was in the model folder. So for here, it was this one, RM Gaia Snapjaw Courier. So I'd grab that. It has to be the same, again, it's the same one. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just drop that right in here as well. And then I'll just load up SFM real quick and just show you. I'll just show you that part real quick. And once we get into SFM, we'll get into like all the nitty gritty, like lighting and camera and all those things. But right now it's just kind of the technical thing of getting stuff working. So like I'm already running all this. So I'll just make a thing here. I'll explain more of what I'm doing here once I get into that. I'm just kind of just zipping through it just to show you where it is. So once the map loads, it's gonna be a minute. Ba-da-ba-ba. Da-da-ba. There it is. So the map loads, and then again, I'd go into this more once I get there. But as you can see, I could literally just search. I'll just search Snapdraw. In the whole directory. See, he's right here. RM Gaia
Yeah.
Snapdraw Courier, and he's right there. Then I could load him in, and there he is right there.
Right.
So that's the base. That's pretty much getting a custom thing added to the game.
Okay.
And again, it's pretty straightforward once you get into the way it works. It's pretty straightforward, and it's nothing too crazy. But I want to get Cardi in here real quick, so because I'm going to be using him to build the one scene. Oh shit, did that right? Where are you, Cardi? Yeah, okay, that's cool. So yeah, let me just get Cardi in there real quick. Cardi. Oh, no Cardi directory yet. Alright, so Cardi's now in there. And I think that's all I'm going to put in there for now. So I'm going to go back into SFM and get into the nitty gritty. Of course, it's already loaded. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'm gonna do one for Cardi. Create scene. That's all pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't think I need to explain that stuff. I mean, creating a scene, directory, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you got. So that's not too crazy. Now, as far as getting set up, I assume you're gonna have the maps already loaded. You already have maps in there, or do you not have any of the Dota maps?
I don't think I have the Dota maps.
All right, let me get to a link real quick for you. Let's see, poly count, SFM. I have a SFM resource thread that I put up on polycount.
Okay.
Not polycunt. Let's see if I can find it real quick on polycount. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Where are you? Polycount thread. That has all useful. Here we go. Collection. Yeah, here it is right here. So it's a collection of useful SFM stuff that I found. And it has a whole bunch of maps that you could download. So pretty much you would just download, let's say, I'll download this map right here, and then once it downloads, you have the 2 Dota maps right here, the BBS file, or BSB file, and then that would go into your SFM directory under your maps folder. So as you can see, I've already dragged this one. I already have this here. So you just drop it right in there, and then once you've got that all situated, you literally just right click in the big box here. You go load map, and then in your Dota SFM right here, there'll be the folder, the maps that you have in there. So like I only have these 2 maps at the moment. So, but those are the 2 maps you can see right here. So I'm gonna load up. Let's see. I'll go with this tutorial map right now. And then it just takes a second because it's loading the actual map.
All the assets, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll show you a couple things with what you could do with the map. So once you load in, you're gonna load in like in the ground like this. I usually find it's a really helpful and neat thing just to make a new camera right from here. So you just right click and you just create animation set for new camera. Then you take the camera and just drag it right onto here. So now you have direct control. Hit F3, and that'll load in the motion editor. And I think you can, right here. I usually just use F3, but if you need to find it, it's Windows motion editor, and then load right in here. And then you're able to control the camera as you would like almost like a first-person kind of no-clip flying through the air type of thing.
Sure.
And a couple hotkeys. If you don't like doing that, you can kind of go to a spot, and then if you hold Alt, I think you could rotate around. Like I said, I haven't. Yeah, you can. There's a whole bunch of navigation controls that you can do. For example, Alt and left click or right click. Sorry, that does zoom. Or you can just Alt Alt and right click looks around.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's rotate? There's a rotate function as well. I think I need an object to get that going first, and then I can rotate around that. But once I get this going, I'll go to a spot that on the map that I like. You also mess with the sliders as well, field of view. We'll get into the other ones later. I just like kicking the field of view up a little bit to let me see the map, a little bit clearer. So once you fly around the map, shift makes you fly fast. So, or you can slow down, let go of shift. So let's go right over here. This is neat. Actually, let me show you this real quick. Actually, I'm doing this on the fly, so everything's gonna be kind of all forward. So there's 2 options here. The draw tools you don't really need to play with too much, but the draw game entities there's a couple neat things. For example, some of the maps they don't load it. They don't load it directly. So for example, like in this scene right here, there's supposed to be a whole bunch of like buildings and stuff that are supposed to load and tables. But to get those going, you'd have to go in and load other entities. See right here, it just popped in.
Oh yes.
See, and then then there's a couple other things like particles, for example. So like right here, you have world particles.
Sure. Yeah,
so you can shut those off or turn them on if you want. I usually leave them off because there's just I usually just work around them because they seem to be a bit glitchy at times. But yeah, those are just like 2 things, and then there's players, NPCs. You can basically just shut whatever you want on and off, and hide things that you don't want. So if you want to work around the scene and edit a little bit, you can. Let's see, we'll go right over here. All right, so let's see, my headset just died. Oh, your headset. Okay.
No, yeah, I muted myself.
All right. And then so once you get this, and you want to load your scene or load your character into the scene, and you find a place that you like. So for example, I'm gonna use this. This is a pretty cool backdrop, so I'm gonna use this for the video. You load in the model, and to do that, I'm gonna use Cardi in this instance. So I'll just type in Cardi, and there he is from when I imported him earlier, and I have both versions.
Right.
And then from there, you just open them up and load them in. Then down in this corner, this is really helpful. Once you get the camera in its position that you like, you don't want to touch it anymore, you want to work around this, you just click on this and it'll pop into a work camera, and you can kind of zoom around, and the camera stays here, and you can see the draw frame for it, so you can kind of work around that.
Cool.
Yeah. Then from here, you have the different tools. I have no idea how to get to these tools. Oh, yeah, they're right here. I know the hotkeys. I don't know anymore I don't know the buttons anymore. I just kind of just work around the hotkeys. So you have the translate, rotate, and then whatever the hell this is. I'm not really sure. I think it just works around the camera.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. No. It's I think by default it's W, E, R, and Q.
Okay.
And as some other things you can do. For example, like so say you load Cardian right here. I can hold was it Control? Yeah, Control, and you can grab the individual joints. But that's like a whole nother thing. I'm talking specifically showcase. If you want, you can like grab these and then rotate these any way you wanted to kind of do your own custom animation within SFM. But that's like a whole nother topic to talk about. So this is specifically just setting up SFM showcases. So position him in the world where you want. So I'm gonna drop him like right over here. Let's see. Yeah, this is pretty neat, I think. It looks alright. But then, again, I'm going to fix the camera up. I like having a really low field of view for the showcases because it really blows the character up. Makes him feel a lot larger. Let's see. I don't really like this anymore. I'm going to move him back here. Actually, I'm not going to do that because I did that with TinkBot. I don't want to use the same scene twice. So yeah, as you can see, like it's very just really quick. There's nothing really too crazy about anything. So I'm gonna put him in here instead. Position him right like this in here. Where are you, Cardi? So let's get Cardi in here. Bam. Yeah, that's way better. I like that a lot more. Framing feels a lot better. And then I'm gonna move the camera up because he's got a real flat profile, or a real flat whatever the fuck. So there we go.
Your audio is clipping out occasionally. I said your audio is clipping out occasionally. So.
Oh yeah, my headset's a bit wonky. So if that happens, sorry about that.
Well, if I miss anything, I'll ask you again. So.
All right, yeah, cool. All right, so I got him in the frame here now. Now what I usually do is I usually position him either on the left or the right, and then have the in-game footage right here. I mean, that's what I do. If you want to do something different, that's whatever. It's whatever. That's what I personally like. Yeah, it's standard. It's easy to read. It's clear. I really like it, so I just keep doing that same template type of layout. But now comes the fun part. Of adding lights and whatnot. So to create new lights, you just hit create animation set for new light, and once you do that, it's just going to pretty much render right on top of where the camera is. So it's the same. You do the same thing what you do with the camera, where you drag this onto the screen, and then you have full control of the light as if it was a camera. Cool. And you're able to just move this around the scene and position it. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna set the first light right here, I guess. Yeah, this looks pretty alright. And then we can get into the real gritty, fun parts of the numbers and all the different variables that you can play with. So let's see, let me go back to the camera here. Alright, now intensity is pretty obvious. This one's just gonna lower and raise the intensity of the light. So and again, that's pretty straightforward. Ambient intensity I don't really touch. Horizontal field of view I like because you can really expand how much the light takes up.
Yep.
So you can really blow these. You can blow these up a lot to get a really nice area light to cover a large area. That makes it's pretty. Let me just shift this over a little bit. All right. Then you have radius and shadow filter size. So if you look at the shadow here, you can see it's kind of slightly blurred, right? So you can reduce that, and the more you reduce it, the harder the shadows get. The more you increase it, the more diffuse the shadows get. So you got to find, yeah. So that pretty much goes. That's pretty straightforward. Now radius, on the other hand, is a little interesting. Let me go into this. So if you want to render out what the final scene is going to look like, you go into your clip editor, because that's going to produce what the final frame will look like. So you usually find yourself swapping between the window editor or motion editor and the clip editor a lot, just to test the light variables to see how you like it. Now you can't change any of the variables while you're in clip editor. I think, or yeah, clip editor. So you'll have to go into the motion editor to change these variables here. So yeah, that's just a little thing that used to annoy me when I didn't realize that until I figured it out.
Alright.
Now, as far as the radius goes, the radius, if I'm not mistaken, it does something to like blur the shadows and kind of clean them up. But if you go too much, it's gonna. So you can see what's gonna happen here once it. Let me change. Oh, let me go in here. Render settings is also really helpful, and just setting these to the max is really helpful. But yeah, and then at that point you can really start. You can see in the bottom corner here it's a sample, and it's just rendering all the different layers and whatnot. So here it's rendering, and the shadow is basically just getting smoother as it renders more. So so I'm gonna lower the radius a little bit. Depending on what you're looking for, like if you want harder shadows, for example, like this first slide, I want to establish the shadows and whatnot. So I usually just kind of, leave it a little lower than let's say the other ones, which I put up a little more. Now min distance, max distance just dictates the minimum distance the light draws and the maximum distance it goes.
It's the attenuation of it. Yep.
Yeah. Then there's also these, which I don't use at all: constant and linear attenuation. Linear I use every once in a while if I need a little bit extra oomph in the scene, but I don't really ever I don't touch either one of those usually. Same with shadow attenuation. I never use those I kind of just stay away from. There's not many I use. It kind of comes down to like trial and error and finding what works and what doesn't work. But most of these are pretty straightforward if you've played with lighting before. Let's see. The other one I tend to use a lot of for this first light is volumetric. If you want to enable volumetric lighting, you just right-click the light and go to volumetrics and just turn that on. Now, it obviously hasn't done anything yet, but that's because you have to trigger it to. And once you play with a setting, it'll render it. So you can go crazy with that. Noise strength. Again, all this stuff is pretty straightforward. Then color lights, finding the color you want. So let's get something a little bluer. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not too crazy. It's just like getting it. It's kind of like it's all trial and error and getting what you want, and then once you find it, it works. So I'm gonna load in a couple more lights real quick, and just to kind of get a little bit more light on the scene. Let's see. God damn it. And you could also shut shadows off by just right-clicking and just disabling shadows. Enable, disable, which is really, really neat. So let's just... Yeah, and then I'll do one last one real quick. I'll throw it behind here. And we'll do a nice... Where is it? So yeah. Yeah, you could also move around the light from the camera as well.
Like a regular object.
Yeah. Now, and then once that's again the lighting. And then from here, I'll go back to the camera and I'll start tweaking with these other settings that I mentioned earlier. So focal distance dictates what the. Oh, an ambulance just drove by with the lights blaring and everything. Now focal distance is what's it called? I can't remember the term, but more or less like
For depth of field.
yeah. That's exactly that's what it is. So and the way it works is you see this the way this works is it works as a plane moving back and forward to the camera. And usually, since I work with such a low field of view, I have to usually bump this up. So to change, so if the 200 units that it initially gives you isn't enough, you can right-click it and hit remap slider, and then change this to like whatever you want. So I'm going to change it to 500, and then just shift this. Now the way it works is whatever it's clipping through is in focus. Everything else gets blurred. So, for example here, everything behind that plane gets blurred, everything in front of it gets blurred. So it's, you got to find where you want. Now, aperture dictates how much you want the blur to kick in. So, for example, I have it set really low right now, so you're probably not even going to notice much of a difference. But the second I say kick this up all the way, this should be a noticeable difference once it starts kicking the render frames in. See it right in the background. So usually, like for these showcases, I want you want to pull the focus to the courier or whatever object. So I just tend to crank that all the way up, and that gives this real nice background blur, which is really neat. Tone map scale increases the overall lighting in the scene, so you can kind of play with that to kind of there's one map in particular, I think it's the second tutorial map that is really dark, so I have a tendency to go on that map and just like kind of blow it out initially, and then scale it back and find where I want the balance to be. Bloom, how much bloom you want. If you want a lot of bloom and you want to make it like a next generation game, you can kick that all the way up, or if you want to be more realistic about it, you find a nice balance. And then SSAO, this again, it's all the what's it called, ambient occlusion. So so you can see in the background, I think mainly, you can see it really coming into play. I got this really cute caterpillar down there. That happens so rarely.
I know it's been crawling around.
That's so rare. Like it's so hard to get those things to work the way you want them to, because they're just natural in the world. So it's like Oh, that's the other thing too. If you want to say for the exact measurement you want, you could just double click and type what you want in. But I have a tendency just to play with the sliders. I mean, that pretty much gets the job done. And then again, I go back into clip mode just to see how this looks. So it's looking pretty okay. I mean, this will get the job done. I haven't even got to the animation side yet. I do that part last. I also like to add a couple particles as well. So from here, you could just right-click, add a new particle system, and this will come into play if you're doing like for a hero. Maybe I should do this later for a hero, but I'll do it on Cardi real quick now. I'll just find something that works. First, I'll do the environmental one first, though, that I like to do, or the creature one, because they have I like doing the Firefly one. So yeah, you just go into browse, you find the particle that you're looking for. So like if you're looking for a hero particle, for example, you'd go into units and heroes, and then load whichever hero you're looking for. And then from there, you go in and find the particle you're looking for. If you're specifically looking for a particle and you don't know exactly what it is or what it's called, you can go to Window and then open up the particle editor tool, which will pretty much open up a particle editor tool, and you can yeah, exactly. And then from there you can just go in and say like I'm gonna load up like that one, and then you can see the particles, get their names, and then know the names, because that's the one thing that bothers me about SFM is when you go and load a particle, there's no way to know what you're looking at.
Well, that's cool. So I know Alien Swarm's particle editor pretty well, so that should be.
Yeah. And you could, if I'm not mistaken, you could also edit the particles from inside that. And you can, edit you can. I remember doing it in the past, and you can kind of change it into what you're looking for if you feel the need to do that. Then start time, these are like ambient ones, so I'll just set it to like -100 or -10 or something, and then just do like crazy amounts just to make sure it's always around. And then once that's in there, we get, let's see, where the hell is it? Oh, you gotta go back into that, yeah. So yeah, then this is like the origin of the particle point. So like I'll just drop it somewhere in the scene. And then now the way the particles work is if I scrub from here, none of the particles will load in. You actually have to go off of you have to make it so it's not rendering anything, and then turn it back on, and then from there then from there you see like you got the little. They're very very hard to notice, but they're in there.
I see.
Yeah, and then they'll just be floating around in the background. Like I might actually shift these up a little bit more just to capture a little bit more of them. They're being dicks. They're hiding in the background. But yeah, you get the general idea how that's supposed to work. And then when I load in, I'll load in Phantom Lancer or after I finish this, and because I'm going to show you how to get getting the cosmetics onto the heroes is a bit of a painful, annoying process. So I'll do the particle for heroes after I once I get to that.
All right.
So yeah, so once you get to this and something you're liking, I'm just going to say that this is okay for now. I'm probably going to make some tweaks after this, but this gets the general idea of how everything is supposed to be working. I like how that frame is. I'm going to start. I'll add the animation to it. So you right click the character, you go to import, and then animation sequence, and then from there you'll have all the animations listed. So you just pick out the ones you're looking for. So I'm going to use idle. And what's going to wind up happening is it's going to load in the animation. So Cardi will be here and he'll be dancing around, having a good time, looking all excited. And from there, now the fun part begins. So if you want to, like right now I have just the idle animation playing and looping over and over again, which is good. I mean, that's not bad, but I kind of like to add a little bit of flair and add a couple other animations in there. So to do animation blending in this, you would go into your motion editor and you find the spot you want to start to blend. So like I'm going to start around like maybe 5 seconds because that's a pretty neutral pose, and I think it'll blend pretty well for the animation. You hold shift and then drag to the end or drag to wherever. I mean, you could technically just like, if you want, you can just drag from one side to the other, and then while continuing to hold shift, you can what's it called? You click like where you want the blend to start. So I want it to start here, and then click to here. So what you're gonna see is you see this natural, this build up towards it. This is where the blend happens, and then this is where the animation plays.
Right.
So then what from here? So like right now I have it pretty neutral. It goes from one point to the other point. So from here, since that area is selected, you then go into import animation sequence, and then I'm going to load in the rare for this in this instance. Now, I'm hoping this will work. I don't know. I got usually what I wind up doing is just going all the way with it and then blending it back into the idle afterward, just to make sure it works. So from here, so as you can see, this is just me without making any tweaks. He does, animation seems to work pretty well. Then he looks around. I'll wait for when he does the jump again. So like here, it kind of goes too quick into just throwing it up. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna shift this up a little bit and see if that. See that blends a little bit better. And then he looks around, and then now we're here. Before he does another toss up, I'll come in here and I'll do another blend. I'll import another animation, which in this case is just going to be the idle. I load that back in, and then he'll go right back into the idle. See?
Yep.
So that's and that's really helpful. I'm gonna do it again for when I do Phantom Lancer, and you'll see a little bit more of it. But that's just the basics of getting, a courier, let's say, to do something a little bit more than just the idle animation. It gives a little bit more flair. I think it reads a little bit better. Overall, because then he's not just standing there doing the same animation. You get a little bit of variation in there, which is neat. So once you get that, then you go back into your clip editor. It'll start rendering out the passes, and then from here you would start your export. So you'd go to file.
It has to render. You're rendering 1024 passes for each frame. And
Yeah.
rendering all the frames there.
Yes, correct.
So that's gonna take a while.
Well, it's right, yeah. So like right now, it's still rendering. It's still rendering the one pass, but like the last 400 passes, you don't really notice significant difference. So I kind of just I like having it on because it kind of just triggers everything to go. You could probably, to be honest, just leave it at 512. And I mean, this is only for depth of field and motion blur. Keep in mind. So it all comes down to that. And then, but that's only just to test it. You're not actually rendering this yet. So once you are ready to render, you go to your export, and you go to your movie. It's gonna ask you if you want to save. You hit yeah, whatever. And then from here, you find your output path. So I'm just gonna do it right to the desktop because I like making everything unorganized. No, I'll just do it temporarily right now. You pick a file name. That's all straightforward. Now from here, there's a couple things. Normally by default, you don't have 1080p enabled. It's usually disabled for some odd reason by default. And if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check real quick. I believe it's a launch option.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. If you want, what you would do is you go in here. Let me pull this into the frame. You would you right click. Where the launch option. I'll just do it for the kick of the tutorial. Set launch options, and then in here you would just type this SFM resolution 1080 in the launch options, and then from then on, you're gonna get like an error message at the beginning. But that's because it's not really. It's like I don't want to do this, but that's because we're gonna force it to, and it doesn't have a choice. But from then, once you do that, from then on, 1080 will be there, and you can render in 1080 if you want. I choose to just do 720 because it seems like the render times are significantly increased. I mean, there's something like, yeah, it's ridiculous the amount they increased though. I mean, it seems like it's almost five or six times more, which makes sense. But yeah, I don't. 720p works fine. At least in all the instances I've had. I mean, if you're doing something really, really promotional, like maybe for like a esport team or something like that, you want to go a little bit bigger. But for like these small showcases, 720 usually works pretty well. Then here you have the option.
A lot of people don't notice any difference anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. So then from here you have an option whether you want to do movie, and from here you can select what type of format you're looking for. Now, personally, I don't like doing the movie because rendering seems to be a real pain in the ass. In that, there's frequent crashes, or if you want to shut the render off, you won't have that power. You don't have the power to just shut it off and start it over again.
Right, so image sequence will let you bring it into another program.
Yeah, exactly. Image sequence. I use image sequence for just about everything, and it's never let me down. So once you get all that set up, you set up whether you want frames or seconds. You set, if you want which shot you want, anything like that. For this, I like using custom. I'll just set like 30 seconds and then just leave it at that. And then in here, you have all these different settings that you can check. Usually I keep all of this on and set it to the highest because it doesn't really, like this right here, this Cardi sequence would probably take about 5 hours to render, I think.
Right.
Which I don't think is too bad for what it is. It's a 30-second sequence, 5 hours. It's like 3 frames a minute or something like that, which isn't too crazy. I don't mind it. I'll just turn a movie on and hang out, or just animate in Maya. Everything else is usually, this is where you can check whether or not you want to draw those entities that I was telling you about earlier that you could turn on and off. This is like the final decision on whether or not you want to keep those on or off, which are simply, they are just simply copied over from this. So if they're set here, like in this directory here, when you go to export, yeah, exactly. So you don't have to really tweak too much when you go to render. This stuff, I never really touch any of these. I don't know exactly. I'm not 100% sure what they do. I don't bother with them. I don't need them. I mean, they're pretty straightforward, I guess. But I guess if you want to overwrite frame rate or anything like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't need for stuff like this little showcase. You don't really need it. But if you want, that's on your own accord, I guess. If you want to look into it and do something like that. And then once you're ready to go, you just export. I'm not going to do it because then I have to deal with the rendering and all that other nonsense. But once you're ready to export, you just hit export, and then the render starts, and then you get your beautiful image sequences, which I have a couple. I'll just just for the point of showing, you have the sequences that you have, and you could see kind of more or less. But that's pretty straightforward. Now let me jump into the hero and let me save this out, and then let me delete everything and start over again. Can't delete. What do you mean I can't delete? Don't tell me that. That's being a dick. That's fine. All right. So let me save this one as the Phantom Lancer one, because I should have him in here. So let me throw this here. Okay, let's go exploring. So now for Phantom Lancer, let's go over to more crazy area. We'll go over here because it's pretty neat. Get some dead bodies in the background. Who doesn't love dead bodies? I don't. Yeah, we'll go right here. So once again, that's all straightforward. Let's get into the brunt of this though. This is where it gets real crazy. All right. So to load up the hero, you just go to where your hero is. I mean, you can. I like just typing it in. You don't have to. You can technically go into like heroes, and then scroll down for 10 years and look for Phantom Lancer. And then once you find him, his message is right here. And once you load him in, he's going to be a bit incomplete. So yeah, let me go over there real quick. Okay. So yeah, he's a bit incomplete. He doesn't have anything. Now I have this really neat rig, which is in that polycount link I sent you earlier, or I didn't send you earlier actually, because I'm a dick. Let me send it to you real quick. Here, that's the polycount link. There's an assembly rig, which is really helpful, because you can go in. I think Brent's playing Dota. He's losing.
Yeah, no kidding.
But anyway, yeah, he's got an assembly rig, so you would just, once you get the rig installed, which is pretty straightforward. I think there's like a README, but I'll just show you where you install it. You'd go into your game, SFM test, and there's a script folder, or not a script folder. I lied to you. Resource folder. No, it's not resource folder either. I don't know where it is. Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head, but there's a README that you can read that has a place to drop them in there. I'm actually surprised I don't remember right now. I haven't done it in a while, so I'm not exactly sure where it is. It's hiding from me. So yeah, but once you get that installed and not have totally black world, then you just go in here and hit auto load, and it'll load all the default stuff.
Right, okay.
But that's not what we want for this, because we're doing, let's say you're doing like a custom set. So in this instance, I would go in and I think it's like ancestor something. Let me see where it is. So let's see, items. So yeah, this would be in the items folder. Phantom Lancer, Ancestor's Pride. So yeah, these are the 4 pieces I want. So let me get them all in here. So yeah, here they all are right here. Now this is where it gets a little bit shitty. So let me do the belt first. Now as you can see, this is not really what we're looking for, right? It moves completely off. It's not, it doesn't animate with the other stuff. It's got its own bones. This is where it gets complicated, or not complicated, rather tedious and annoying. First, you got to line it up with the actual bone itself. The way I usually do that is by going into the what's it called, the graph editor, and pretty much setting a key on the root. So you would do this by just simply, once I get it here, let me just kick that in the bottom here. It's not working. Whatever. Where is it? Set key. So you go and set a key real quick, and let me delete that real quick. Boom. And once you do that, then it's going to have all the positions for you to copy over. You can also do this the not stupid way. I've gotten into such a routine with that that's just how I've chosen to do it. But you can go in here, and it should, but it's not for some reason. There. That's interesting. Yeah, they're all right here, the different translation rotation forms. So you would go into here and more or less, these, see how these are different. You just go in and you just copy. You would literally, you just copy paste these into it, shit, and then so once. Let me just do all these real quick. And if you do it right, you won't have to actually play with any of the rotation. So as you can see, that's kind of on there, right? Let me just see the rotation real quick and make sure the rotation's the same on both. Yeah, it is. So yeah. So the rotation's already done on that, so you don't have to do anything. But the thing is, it's still not gonna, you know, listen to the other bones because it's got its own bones. So this is where the tedious process comes in. What you have to do is you have the Phantom Lancer and you have the Ancestor's Pride belt. You have to click, hold, drag, and repeat. And you have to do this for every single bone that is listed. So, and thankfully he's broken down. Some heroes don't have this, where like they're broken down into different into different sections. Some have all the bones listed all in one little thing, so you have to like scroll up and down, which is absolutely tedious and makes me want to just like, you know, blow my brains out because I don't want to do that. But that's beside the point. So once you get that and everything in there, then you'll be able to grab these bones here. And let me get one that actually has some sort of effect on the mesh. Actually, I'll just load an animation in. And that should be telling. So as you can see how it follows. See, it follows with the bones now. So essentially what you're doing is you're locking the default you're telling these bones to just follow the bones from these. That's more or less what you're doing. So once, you know, and then at that point it's a copy paste repeat process of doing it with everything else. And you know, you have a set like for Invoker or something that's got like 7 items that, you know, you can see where it gets a bit tedious. And unfortunately there's no way to get around that. That's what if you want to do, you know, if you're doing like stuff for default heroes or you're using default cosmetics, it's not so much of a problem because you could just use that rig and that just, you know, loads everything in. But since you're using custom stuff, it doesn't know to pull it from where you want it to pull it from, so you have to do it all manually, which could be a bit of a pain. So let me just do all these real quick. Yeah, you just have to find the name and match the bone, and then, you know, drop them in there. Yeah, all you gotta do is click and drag. I mean, that part at least is simple. It's just tedious. Like I remember doing one for what hero was it? I think it was Shadow Shaman, and he had all of his bones were like listed under the same thing. So, and they were like, and then he's got like 100 bones or like 80 bones or something like that. So, you know, that was annoying. Yeah. Even Earth Spirit was like that too, if I'm not mistaken. Earth Spirit was the same, where like all of his bones are all listed under the same constraint or under the same drop down. So, and he had so many that like literally it was just dragging up and down, and it was so friggin' tedious because there's so many bones involved. And that stuff gets really annoying. But no, this guy's not too bad. I don't know what's happening here.
Oh no, I walked into the trap.
So let's see. There we go. And then we'll do it again. Boom, boom, boom. Bam. Arms. Clavicle. Yeah. Right? This is the most boring part of the whole thing. And I hope to God the weapon doesn't do anything stupid. And I think it's going to. God damn it. All right. Sometimes the weapons don't load in properly. Like they'll load in a different angle, a different everything, like than what it's supposed to be. And it doesn't even match with what you're supposed to be looking at.
Awesome.
Yeah, which then leads you to having to position it yourself manually, which isn't too bad too bad for most weapons, but for others it could be a real pain in the ass. So let's see, there's that. I think the rotation might be off on one of these axes here. No, see, it's not. But you can see that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
When you compare it to, let's say, his default armor, wherever it is. I'll load this in because it's not that difficult to fix, especially because once you lock it in, you could shift it around from where it's locked in, and it'll just stay locked, which is really helpful.
You're essentially making them children of the.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the word.
Child-parent
Yep.
hierarchy.
So let's see where it's going.
So yeah, you should be able to drag the children around and it won't affect the parent, right?
Yep.
So.
Where's Spear? I don't see Spear.
Spear 1.
Spear 1 I got, but there's no Spear. I don't think it'll be a problem. I don't think that one's actually being used for anything. No, that is, but they're both being used for some. See, it's the fun. All right, but it's locked in anyway. I also noticed he's got no face. I just noticed this, and I don't think, as much as people would love to have Phantom Lancer without a face, we don't want Phantom Lancer without a face. So let's get Phantom Lancer's face.
Give him someone else's face.
So yeah, okay. Should just do that and just link it all up that way.
It's on there.
Yeah, oh shit. I gotta do more of that stuff. All right, so yeah, let me get his head on there because we don't want a PL without a face. Yeah. I should just leave it like that. Where's his face now? Anyway, it's inside of his body. Yeah.
In his chest, yeah. Quaid.
Damn it. Alright, so there we go. His face is on there. Let's do one of these.
Mr. Grumpy Face.
He is really grumpy. He's Grumpy Cat. He is a Grumpy Cat. Alright, so that one. So, let's see. Where are the other ones? Yeah, that's the other thing that's really annoying. Sometimes they're not in the order that they don't mimic the order, the hierarchy. So, it's like finding a needle in the haystack sometimes, especially when they have variables like this. And you're like, yeah, and like one wrong variable can just be the difference between something that's not working and it working.
Oh yeah, I just finished off Rubik's Cloak. It has every rope bone has all of those variables at the end of it.
Yeah.
Keep it in order. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, if you accidentally drop it on the wrong one like I just did there, you just gotta click that. Click the little lock and then that'll shut off. Alright, so here we go. 1 and 2. Okay, so now everything should move the way it should. Alright, so here we go. Now the ultimate test, the animation test. So then I'll load in like the idle animation. As you can see what happened with the weapon.
Of course.
Not really what you want. So from there you can just kinda
position it in its hands.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's using the root.
Yeah.
Oh no, I see. It is using the root, or is it using? Oh yeah, I see that. Shit.
I believe you could just position it, and it shouldn't be a problem. I've done it before that way, but yeah, it's like it's all over the place. Actually, you know what I'll do instead? Don't grab the whole thing. Go into this and just grab the one bone that's influencing it. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. I fucked up there. So something like that. Yeah, it was Alt and right click. You can shift around the object after you center onto it. Come on, you. Alright, so this looks pretty. Alright, so this is pretty. I mean, this will do, I think. You just make sure it looks okay in that hand. Yeah, this will get the job done. That'll work. And then once you do that, the animation should play as intended. So he's holding his weapon, and he's in there doing the animation. Then from there, you know, once he's all in there and working, I'll go in and start positioning him the way he should be in the scene. Not like, oh my god, exactly like this. That looks right. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. You have to go back into your clip editor to shift them around. If you do it, that's what happened when I was in the what's it called, the graph editor. It just breaks them. You don't want to do that because that's not going to help anyone's. So I'm not sure what he meant. So yeah, so I'll just, you know, position him in the world somewhere. You know, cool pose or some shit. Get him positioned. So yeah, this will work pretty well. Grab that spear too.
Badass. Just killed all those guys.
Yeah, he just killed all the creeps, and he killed his own creep for some reason. Not sure why. He's kind of he denied it. Yeah, he's a dick. He denied it for no reason. It was at full health. It wasn't hurting anyone. He just decided to do it anyway. So yeah, once you know the scene looks pretty okay, I'll go into the animation side of this. Now, I could just leave him idling. His leg is broken though.
I see that.
Why is it doing that? Let's not use this animation.
It's on a boat.
Let's not use that animation. Let's use how about the animation that was meant for this? And to be honest, that looks pretty cool. I might just keep that and just use that all the way through for no reason. Only because I know it doesn't blend well. That's the only problem, is it doesn't blend well with the other stuff. So yeah, this works though. See, so he's got so that one works. See, that's the thing with the loadout animations. They don't blend well between the other animations, so you get like really odd blending when you do in like the different sequences. So let's see what I can do here. So yeah, so you know, once you get him in there, you find where the neutral point is. This looks about right. So go in here. So I'll go in here. You know, same thing as earlier. It's really just rinse and repeat type of stuff, but it's a little bit more complicated when it comes to like the heroes, because you kind of have to time everything right, and that comes down to like a feel.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so like I'll do like an attack. Let's see which attack. No, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that one. There's a nice animation where he spins around. I'm not exactly sure which one that is. No, not that. You don't want to see his crotch.
Look up.
I love how he doesn't have a crotch. Sorry, I couldn't help it.
I don't think they ever intended us to ever see them from this angle. Ever.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just funny. Fans of Planet, he's been neutered, man. His owners neutered him. Let's see. One of these is a really, really cool, like he spins around and he attacks, and it's like really cool. There it is, that's the one.
Oh yeah.
So now it all comes down to getting. What is he doing here? So yeah, so this is, if I'm not mistaken, where the pose begins. I believe it's, yeah, like right over here. So I'm gonna move this back and then shift this over, and hope to God it doesn't break it completely. Like that, where he's bouncing around. It's like acting really slow right now for some reason. There we go. So yeah, so and yeah, see, so then he does the spin. Yeah, again, it's all for the sole purpose of doing a little bit more variation. And then once you get it back to where you want it, he's idling again. just throw the other animation back on there. Sequence. Load out. Basic. And it goes right back into it.
Gotcha.
But let's clean that up though real quick. So it's not so brutal. I mean, this comes down to just kind of tweaking it, getting it to not make it so he's this stupid shit. There we go. So yeah, so now you got him doing spin. It goes right back into it. So, and that's more or less the heroes, you know. And then from there, all the same stuff applies. So like, I'll just go through, you know, I'll just go in, you know. So I'll just do it all again real quick, just because I think I'm actually going to change the animation back to what the loadout is for the thing. And even though it is a static one, I think it works really well just to showcase the armor. Because I mean, that's the most important thing, is to showcase it. You don't want to really add flair for something like a hero. Like I like to do the animations on like the wards and couriers, because you know I did the animations on it, so I kind of want to show them off a little bit. But for the other stuff, you know, not too much. I also like to abuse the volumetric lighting a lot, because
That's dirty.
I like it. It's nice. It turns me on. No, it doesn't. No, actually, it does. So yeah.
You're still recording this, right?
Yeah. Oh, I am. Dude, this is the one thing I think I just realized, is all my tutorials are just going to be like my deep down dirty secrets for everyone to share with everyone.
Yeah, look at a Phantom Lance's crotch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? So yeah, let's see. Let's add a couple more lights in there. Let's see, let's get this one over here. No lights, no shadows for you.
Well, outside the streets.
Lights, camera, action. So you over here. Might not even need you. I'll go a little bit. Yeah, fix the focal distance.
Yeah.
Now for this, I don't like all those trees back there. So this is something there's a model in here that's extraordinarily useful. Just search cluster. I think it's like cluster 8 or something. 08 or something. Tree cluster. Just search tree cluster. How about that? Yeah, right here. This one, which is just a whole bunch of pine trees, which look like total shit, but they work really, really well to do a lot of background. You know. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm still on this.
Did you just animate those going over there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, it's fixed now. But yeah, just to get, you know, they look like shit up close, but they work really well for
Sure.
You know,
fill in the background and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just because like sometimes, you know, like all this stuff over here, I don't really like.
So they're nice silhouettes.
Yeah, exactly. Just breaks it up a little bit more. You know, I'll just close that up over there. And, I mean, especially once the depth of field gets applied and everything, you don't even see them anymore. So then we'll see what this looks like once we render it. And there it all is. So he really pops out in this one.
Very nice.
Yeah, and then in this one, you know, just do the in-game footage right next to it, and you get a nice showcase. I usually bring it into like After Effects afterward and like toy with the levels, blow the contrast out a little bit to kind of just stuff you do post processing stuff just to make it just to make it that just add that extra flair to it. I think for this one I'll also add a little bit of fog to it, to the ground. Because why not? I think it'll look cool.
Because you can.
That's literally what most of this is. Like, oh yeah, maybe this will be cool. It's all experimentation, finding what works. Little flair here and there. Never hurt anyone. That's not really what I was looking for. What the hell? What did I do? I don't know what I do. I literally have no idea what I just did there. What the I've never seen this before. I have literally never seen this before.
Are you projecting fog from the camera?
Yeah, but there's no way it should be doing that. This is funny because like if I just go back far enough, it fixes the problem itself. Except now it's not. So yeah, I have no idea what just happened there. I have never seen this happen in my life before.
You're looking through the volumetric fog.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's just see now it's off again. It's like the light moved. It's like all the lights just now defaulted back to their original. Oh, I see what happened. Well fucking played. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Alright, so what I wound up doing is, you see here, or rather here, small change. I never fixed it. The way that this works is anything that's in green right now is being affected. So like if I, for example, take let me take the camera and shift it around, since the entire what do they call it? Since the entire timeline is lit up, whenever I move it, it affects everything. But since I didn't originally, bad things happened, and basically I animated and moved things around. So I originally on like frame 0 it was here, and then it shifts over and goes back towards the later half. So in this instance I'm going to probably go in here and select everything and just copy that small amount and select all the time and paste it all and then overrides it. So that's going to fix all that. Although I still probably broke a lot of other things in here. Because I'm a fucking idiot. God damn it. So yeah, let me just fix all this real quick. So yeah. How's the pine trees? I gotta get more pine trees now. I need more pine trees. You can never have enough pine trees.
Can you duplicate something that's in the scene?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, you just have to right click it, copy animation set. I don't think there's a shortcut for it. If there is, I don't know it.
Okay. And then just move it around.
Yeah, and then exactly. It's straightforward, nothing too crazy. Let me just shift that back a little bit more. Yeah, we'll go like back here. And this first one actually is way too fucking close. Gotta drop that down to here. And I'll do another one behind it. Not delete. I don't want to delete it. I just want to copy it. I'll do another one up here and shift it back slightly, just to fill in that gap right here. So, volumetric's a bit weak as well. I think for this one I'm also gonna add like a little foreground element. Let's see, bush. I'll add this bush here. Bush in the corner. Because he doesn't like a good bush in the corner. To be honest, that doesn't fit at all, but just to have a foreground element. It's got a better one. It's got a rock.
Sure.
Not rockets. That's not really gonna do anyone favors.
Oh yeah, man, you gotta go in.
How about
There you go.
a rocket launcher crate?
Sure.
Yeah, all the TF2 stuff and Half-Life stuff is in here too. So let's see. There's the props. So I think these are. I think if I'm not mistaken, these are like somewhat large rocks. So I'll just like drop it in the scene.
Is that you saying that?
God damn it!
Yes.
Why is it doing
Say
this?
hi, Ike.
Is Ike in here now? Oh yeah, Ike's in here now.
Yeah.
Is that why they're
Say hi. You're being recorded, Ike. Say hi.
They were doing live tutorial. This is next level stuff.
Oh no, we're supposed to be helping them? Fighting? Yes. Alright, let's fuck them up.
There we go. I don't like it. You know, I'm not doing it.
Bedroom right there.
So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I'm gonna lower the volumetric intensity on this as well a little bit. So I mean that's, and then this is gonna render it, and then it's gonna blur everything in the background. It's gonna make it look nice.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it from there. You know, same process as exporting it, and then you know, and then that's it.
So you're just doing this, then you're doing this series of sequences like this for the TI4.
Yeah, this is what. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, this is the thing is, this is what I use for all of the Red Moon stuff. So I mean, like, if you go and look at any of the Red Moon stuff on actually, I'll just click that and go straight to it. Yeah, I mean, like the big summer solstice thing I did, or that we worked on. But I'm talking on the SFM that I did. So I mean, this is more or less the same. It's the same layout, and the same. I mean, literally, I did the same thing over and over for these. It's just loading it in, and then taking the footage, and then doing all the editing afterward. And everything I just did is what I did in these. You know, you could see the blending and whatnot.
Very nice.
So yeah, and it's a really nice way. It's better. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's better than just it kind of, since it's rendering within SFM, it's rendering within source. It's better than just doing like a Maya render, because you're getting exactly what you're gonna get in game, just at at an angle that you have full control over and can capture and edit and more play with more or less. You can really make it shine. So it's all for the extra flair. Like, I mean, this one here, like, the contrast is totally blown on it, and I totally would make it a little bit more, I'd pop the contrast a little bit, add a little bit of vignetting, and, increase the saturation. But all that stuff I'll do in post. I won't do it here. So, I mean, I think that's roughly it in a nutshell. Let me save that. Let me open up my other one, too. I'll open up Cluckles. I mean, it's formulaic in some regard, but
Awesome. That's the guy's so good.
but yeah. So again, like it's very formulaic, but the thing is, it's all about showing off it's all about showing it off and just giving a nice presentation. And this seems to get the job done. And that's what I'm looking for. So with this, I'll finalize with getting back to rendering this guy, and just showing the rendering actually going through. So this is the ThinkBot that I'm doing. Let me just see, what frame am I on right now? Archive. So yeah, so like right now I'm at 234. Did this just crash on me? See? Unbelievable. Oh, I thought it did. I thought it crashed. It didn't. So yeah, so then we'll go back into the export movie. Most of this is already set up for me since I don't have to do it again. But I do need to push this one forward to frame 234. I'll just do 233 just to be safe. Everything looks good. And then I hit export, and then this is when everything goes to shit. It has to render. And So, I mean that's pretty much it in a nutshell. This is like it's processing everything, so it's gonna be slow and it's gonna take a minute and it's gonna be a dick. Um, but once it goes, it'll start rendering again and it'll just start popping out the renders. I'm gonna also, word of advice, don't load any, like, just let, it's kind of obvious for rendering since it's a memory hog, but SFM seems to be a lot better about it in that you can kind of do other things without the computer being totally locked down by rendering. But what you don't want to do is load up like Dota or anything, because or any other games for that matter, because whenever you load up source games in particular, whenever you load up a source game, if you can even load it up, because most of the time it's going to tell you source is already running, so it's not going to. But Dota seems to disagree with that logic. This will happen. It'll all of a sudden just invert the colors. So that's there's no reason you can't, I have Maya running right now, and I've been animating this thing, every once in a while. Actually, I just started working on this one, but you can do other things while this is rendering. Like, I usually just watch movies or animate some other stuff, so you're not totally locked down when you're doing it, so you can really multitask and get stuff done, so it's not a problem. But I mean, if there's any other questions, I mean, I think that covers the basics of the whole thing.
That was exceptional. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you have any other questions, just shoot me a message and I'll see if I can help you out. And
Cool, yep.
yeah. But all right, if that's the case, I'm gonna shut the stream off.
This will be on Twitch, right? So we can.
No. I did. This is like private broadcast. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube.
Okay.
I'm literally just gonna upload this video to YouTube without editing it. So it's just gonna be exactly this. And then from there, I guess you could just tinker and reverse engineer everything. Like I said, that's the nice thing, man. SFM is really straightforward about how everything works. It's not really complicated. It's just there's a lot of it, so you have to like figure out where. It's once you figure out where everything is, everything just falls right into place. It's not an issue. So I'm gonna shut the stream off though. So.